All right, ladies, good morning.
Sir, your mic is now muted.
All right, good morning, ladies. So what we're going to do today, we're going to continue to look at locating and defining the Caribbean. And so one of the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to just a recap from yesterday's class. May I see Burke?
Sir?
Were you at the class yesterday?
Yes, sir.
All right, so tell me the different subregions of the Caribbean.
You have the Greater Antilles, the
Yes.
Lesser Antilles, which is split into three regions, subregions. You have the
Yes.
Leeward Islands, the Windward Islands, and the Netherlands. And then you have the other territory.
Other territories. Give me examples from the other territories.
From the other territories, you have the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, or Turks and Caicos.
All right, very good. And so thank you very much. Who is this? Sinclair. Sinclair?
Sir.
All right, so Burke would have given us three of the subregions of the Caribbean. Which one she left out? Or she didn't mention?
Okay, yes. Oh. Can you please repeat the ones that she said?
So she would have looked at the Greater Antilles, Lesser Antilles, and also the other territories.
The ABC Islands?
The ABC Islands would have formed part of which grouping?
What grouping is that? That is like
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
All right. Where is McDonald? Anya McDonald?
Yes, sir.
Could you provide some clarity for us, please? Which one she would have left out?
Saba. Oh, you're talking about the overall.
Yes, the overall
subregions?
the subregions of the Caribbean.
I didn't hear all of them, but I'm going to guess.
You can
Just say all of them, sir?
repeat, yes. Just say all
Okay.
the subregions.
The Greater Antilles, the Lesser Antilles, and within the Lesser Antilles there are the Windward Islands, the Leeward Islands, and the Netherlands Antilles.
All right, good. Another subregion of the Caribbean is?
Mainland territories.
Mainland territories.
Mainland territories, and also she would have also mentioned the other territories.
Right.
Okay, so thank you very much. So there are four main subregions of the Caribbean: the Greater Antilles, Lesser Antilles, other territories, and the mainland territories. The recordings online, ladies, please go and listen to the class. The next thing, the other one is that the Lesser Antilles is divided into three subgroupings, which includes the Windward Islands, Leeward Islands, and the Netherlands Antilles. Now, so that's a recap from our class yesterday. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to look at how do we go about defining the Caribbean? And so the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is that you're going to, for about 2 minutes, put your own definition of the Caribbean. What do you think the Caribbean means? What is, how do you define the Caribbean? 2 minutes, please. All right, ladies. So definition, what is your definition of the Caribbean? Robinson, how would you define the Caribbean? If somebody asks you what is the Caribbean, how would you define the Caribbean? Robinson.
Um, the Caribbean is a region between North and South America that comprises of countries in the Caribbean Sea.
Countries in the Caribbean Sea. All right, fairly good definition. Uh, Duncan, J. Duncan.
Yes, sir.
How would you define the Caribbean?
The Caribbean, there are islands that are washed by the Caribbean Sea.
Islands that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. Another fairly good definition. The Laxman, Jovial Laxman.
Jovita Laxman, sir.
Okay,
Yeah. So I wrote that it is made up of islands located in the West Indies.
repeat.
That it's islands located in the West Indies.
All right. Islands located in the West Indies. Uh, Claire, Paris Claire.
Yes, sir.
How would you define the Caribbean?
Islands and other territories washed by the Caribbean Sea.
Islands that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. Islands are what? They said mainland territories,
I said other territories.
other territories that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. All right. So everyone has given their own definition of the Caribbean. The truth is that there's no right or wrong definition when we define the Caribbean. All right, so I'm going to introduce to you a Jamaican scholar who was based in Trinidad. His name is Norman Girvan. He died around maybe about 2 years ago. I'm going to ask Sashane Black to read this quote for me from Norman Girvan.
The term Caribbean is used in different meanings so far as its scope and coverage are concerned. Caribbeans themselves tend to think of the region as consisting exclusively of the language area to which it belongs. Hence, when analog phones speak of Caribbean, they are normally referring to the countries of the Caribbean community, CARICOM. The group of 15
Please,
No, I agree to Urban and I'm not mature nobody wants it. Personally,
1 second.
the group of 15 predominant.
Sashane, unmute your mic, please, and continue.
Oh, ooh, okay. Start from the beginning or continue?
No, continue.
Okay. The group of 15 predominantly English-speaking states that includes all the former British colonies in the archipelago and the adjacent mainland. Formed nearly 25 years ago, CARICOM has sound background of cooperation in trade, external economic negotiations, education, sports, and culture. The recent admission of Suriname and Haiti to its membership means that it is becoming more truly representative of non-analog phone Caribbean. CARICOM is also developing closer relationships with Cuba and the Dominican Republic.
All right, thank you very much. So there are certain things that we need to point out from Girvan article. One of the first thing is that Girvan argues and he says that the term Caribbean is used in different meanings. So there are different meanings to the term Caribbean. And he also mentioned that people from the Anglophone Caribbean are those people, the English speaking Caribbean. And I didn't mention this in your class yesterday. So you're going to put a small note, maybe on the side of your notebook, that the Caribbean is also divided based on languages. The Caribbean is also divided based on languages. The Anglophone Caribbean are the English-speaking islands. The Anglophone Caribbean, the English-speaking islands. The Francophone Caribbean, the French Caribbean. Francophone, French Caribbean. So which country would we include in the Francophone Caribbean? That French is one of the languages there. Haiti, yes.
Martinique.
And
Saint Martin.
French Saint Martin. All right, good. And also Guadeloupe. Now, in addition, so everybody, we know the English-speaking territories. Another one is the Hispanophone Caribbean. The Hispanophone Caribbean, which is the Spanish-speaking Caribbean. Hispanophone Caribbean. Which countries would include in the Hispanophone Caribbean? Cuba, yes. Puerto Rico and
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic. They form part of the Hispanophone Caribbean. And then the next one is the Dutch Caribbean. The Dutch Caribbean would include countries like
Dutch Saint Martin.
Next one.
Sir, the ABC Islands.
The ABC Islands. Which other Caribbean territory?
Ava.
Yes. And what about countries, mainland countries, such as Suriname, and on the French Caribbean, please add French Guyana. Please add French Guiana. So what Norman Girvan is saying right here is that Girvan is saying that when people from the English-speaking Caribbean and Anglophone Caribbean, when they speak about the Caribbean, they tend to be referring to only countries in CARICOM. Those are the English-speaking countries, right? That they're in CARICOM. Now, I want to ask you uh, most occasion when a Jamaican is talking about making reference to the Caribbean, they usually say, you know, that Caribbean people don't like us. That's what some Jamaicans would say. Which countries are they usually making reference to?
Trinidad and Tobago,
Trinidad and
sir.
Tobago.
Trinidad.
Is Trinidad and Tobago the only place in the Caribbean? Trinidad and Barbados,
Yes, and
No.
Barbados.
No,
right?
sir, a lot of
Barbados
countries
definitely.
don't. A lot of Caribbean countries don't like Jamaica because when other countries are referred to the Caribbean, they just think it's Jamaica.
Refer to Jamaica.
So that is a myth. That is not entirely true. But what we're saying is, so listen now, ladies. Usually when Jamaicans in Jamaica are Barbadians in Barbados or Trinidadians, when they are talking about the Caribbean, they're usually talking about the English-speaking Caribbean. But how is it that you're going to say there are conflicts between Jamaica and the Caribbean when Cuba is your closest neighbor and Cuba provides you with doctor, nurse, scholarship, everything? When you use the word Caribbean, you don't usually think of Cuba. You know Cuba, in your back of your mind, you know Cuba is part of the Caribbean. But when you're making certain judgments
You
about
just
the
don't remember
Caribbean,
that Cuba is in the Caribbean.
all right. So, so ladies, so Norman Girvan is basically saying when English speaking Caribbean people talk about the Caribbean, they just really making reference about their Caribbean. Same thing for the Spanish Caribbean countries. When they are talking about the Caribbean, they're really talking about their Spanish speaking countries. That is not good. The Caribbean is much more diverse than that. And so Girvan went on in his article to say that the Caribbean, please have this down, highlight it, ensure that you remember. Girvan pointed out that the Caribbean has definitional issues. Please put that down. The Caribbean, you can quote it in your essays, according to Norman Girvan, the Caribbean has definitional issues. Or Norman Girvan states that the Caribbean has definitional issues. So what Girvan is saying, there is no one way of defining the Caribbean. And there's not only one way or no one standard way of defining the Caribbean, but defining the Caribbean is very problematic. And so for this course, what we're going to look at is different ways in which we define the Caribbean. And these are the different ways in which we are going to look at. So we have the geographical definition, geological definition, historical definition, diasporic definition, and the political definition. Now, in using these definitions, ladies, there are weaknesses in all of the definition. There are also strengths in using the definition, advantages and disadvantages, all right? So once we go through each of the definition, we are going to highlight some of the issues when it comes to the weaknesses and strengths of these definitions. Now, so your next top heading you could put is the geographical definition. We're going to now look at the geographical definition. What is the geographical definition? And so the geographical definition is any country that is, the geographical definition, is the area washed by the Caribbean Sea. The area washed by the Caribbean Sea. So any country, according to geographical definition, that is washed by the Caribbean Sea is considered to be part of the Caribbean. Another aspect of the geographical definition is using the lines of latitude and longitude. Lines of latitude and longitude. So any country that is 21 degree north and 78 degree west, 21 degree north and 78 degree west, once you fall within that line, those lines of latitude and longitude, then you are considered to be part of the Caribbean. Always remember that, because people lose marks by only when we ask them about the geographical definition, students just say any country washed by the Caribbean Sea, and it is more than that. It also includes those who are within the lines of
Excuse me, sir.
and longitude. Yes.
Someone is asking for you to repeat the latitude and longitude.
21 degree north, 21 degree north, 21 degree north, and 78 degree west. All right, good, good. So now, countries washed by the Caribbean Sea. Let us look at the map on our screen, and let us look at some of the countries or places that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. So someone, all right, Martin, Amanda Martin.
Yes, sir.
So look at your map and tell me some of the areas that are washed by the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, so far, Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico are washed, I guess, by the Caribbean Sea,
Yes.
and the other countries that are in the Lesser Antilles, such as British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, and the ABC Islands.
All right, good, good. So thank you very, very much. So now, ladies, so you're going to, is that the following territories are washed by the Caribbean Sea. The following territories are washed by the Caribbean Sea, the Lesser Antilles, those in the Lesser Antilles, those in the Lesser Antilles, Jamaica, those in the Lesser Antilles, Jamaica, Cuba.
So you mean Greater Antilles?
Sorry, those in the Lesser Antilles, those in the Lesser Antilles. Those in the Lesser Antilles, Jamaica, Cuba.
You still
Sir, it's the Greater Antilles.
No.
Oh, I'm giving you it is the Lesser Antilles. So all the countries in the Lesser Antilles, including the countries in the Lesser Antilles, Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the ABC Islands, the Cayman Islands, and the mainland territory of Belize. And the mainland territory of Belize. So these territories are washed by the Caribbean Sea. Now I have a larger map, well, not a larger map, but a clearer map. There are countries in Central America that are also washed by the Caribbean Sea, but they are not considered to be part of the Caribbean. So for example, we have, so One second. Noel. Noel?
Yes, sir.
So, which did from South America to Central America, which countries are washed by the Caribbean Sea?
Panama, Costa
Panama,
Rica,
Costa Rica,
Nicaragua,
Nicaragua, yes,
Honduras,
Honduras,
Colombia,
Colombia,
Venezuela,
and Venezuela. So these territories in Central America and South America, those territories are actually also washed by the Caribbean Sea, but they are not considered Caribbean countries. They are not. Repeat?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Is Mexico also washed by the Caribbean Sea?
No, Mexico is not washed by the Caribbean Sea. It's washed by the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
All right. So ladies, if we look at it here, Honduras is washed by the Caribbean Sea, but is not considered part of the Caribbean. Same thing with Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, part of Colombia, Venezuela. These territories are washed by the Caribbean Sea. They are not considered part of the Caribbean. All right. So are we seeing some of the challenges when it comes to defining the Caribbean geographically? Now, another issue that we're facing with this definition is that popular Caribbean countries are excluded from the geographical definition, such as the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos Islands. The Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands. In addition to the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands, we have, if you look at my cursor here, we have Guyana. Guyana is not washed by the Caribbean Sea. Suriname is not washed by the Caribbean Sea. Or French Guyana is not washed by the Caribbean. These territories, they are washed by the Atlantic Ocean. But based on the geographical definition that states that any country that is washed by the Caribbean Sea is considered to be part of the Caribbean, then Guyana would not be part of the Caribbean. The Bahamas would not be part of the Caribbean. Turks and Caicos would not be part of the Caribbean. Suriname and French Guyana would not be part of the Caribbean. Are we seeing the challenges with that definition? So while it is good and while the geographical definition gives us include maybe majority of the Caribbean territories, there are problems when it comes to that definition. And I'm going to show you here what the Caribbean would look like based on the geographical definition. The geographical definition would basically include these territories that are washed by the Caribbean Sea. Now, there's no debate in Jamaica whether we are part of the Caribbean or not. We're entirely in the Caribbean Sea. And in fact, we're one of the few islands that is completely washed by the Caribbean Sea. So if you look within where the cursor that I'm pointing now, you'll realize that the geographical definition is quite limited because that definition, it excludes popular Caribbean countries, and it also includes countries that are not considered to be part of the Caribbean. Now, my point is now, ladies, when you're writing your essays for the exam, you need to mention in your essay, you start off by saying, develop your point. So you would go like this. For example, one of the definitions or one way in which the Caribbean is defined is through geography, or what we call the geographical definition. The geographical definition includes any country that is washed by the Caribbean Sea and those that falls within the line of latitude and longitude 21 degree north, 78-degree west. So that is the definition. Some of the countries that are washed by the Caribbean Sea are, you list the countries. One of the challenges with this definition is that it excludes popular Caribbean countries or countries that are considered to be part of the Caribbean. For example, Turks and Caicos Islands, the Bahamas, Cuba, the Turks and Caicos Islands, Suriname, Guyana, and French Guyana. All right? And it also, another challenge with this definition is that it includes countries that are not considered Caribbean, but they are also washed by the Caribbean. And you name them, Honduras, and whatever. And so what we are doing is that you're developing the point and you're ensuring that all of those points, elements are discussed within the essay. All right. So that is when you're looking at the geographical definition. No, there are some controversies I'm going to look at. For example, Mexico. There's a part of Mexico that is called Cancun. It's on the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, if we look at it, a part of Cancun is located within the Caribbean Sea, and another part is located in the Gulf of Mexico. What we're having here, ladies, is that so when I visited Mexico and went to Cancun, they said to me that, oh, I'm going to take you to the Caribbean, the Caribbean. So I said, oh, you're going to take me to the Caribbean and I'm in Mexico. They say, oh, this is the Caribbean part of Mexico, Cancun. And they say that it is washed by the Caribbean Sea. Some maps actually show that it's washed by the Caribbean Sea, actually. Some maps actually do. But a large portion of Mexico is located within the Atlantic, not the Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico. Another territory that I'm going to look at is Barbados. Barbados is this island right here, the most eastern Caribbean island. And in Barbados, there are two views. One is that Barbados is completely in the Atlantic Ocean. That is one view. The second view is that the east of Barbados is washed by the Atlantic Ocean, and the west of Barbados is washed by the Caribbean Sea. Now, that is up for debate. For me personally, I would say I would support the view that the east is washed by the Atlantic Ocean. Why? Because from my personal experience, in Barbados, you'll tend to see that the Atlantic Ocean is rough, quite rough. The water looks different, but when you go to the western side, the water is calm, nice, the sun, people can bathe on the beach, but not on the eastern side. If you think that you want to commit suicide, go on the east. So that's the debate concerning that. Also, there are some people that argues that a part of Trinidad is washed by the Atlantic Ocean also. Because if Guyana is washed by the Atlantic Ocean, look at where Guyana is located, right? Here. Just if Guyana, then it seems as if a portion of Trinidad is also, maybe a portion is washed by the Caribbean Sea and a portion is washed by the Atlantic Ocean. So these are some of the challenges that we have when we are defining the Caribbean. Now, so we have looked at the geographical definition. We're now going to look at the geological definition. The geological definition. So a working definition that we're going to look at. The geological definition refers to, the geological definition refers to, the geological definition refers to, yes, Sinclair.
The area defined by the Caribbean plate that has the seismic, the tectonic, and the volcanic features.
Yes, you're correct. So the geological definition refers to areas that sits on the Caribbean plate that share similar systemic, tectonic, and volcanic features. Now,
So repeat that, please.
that shares similar systemic, tectonic, and volcanic features.
Sir, can you repeat from areas that sit on the
Areas
place?
that, okay, so the geological definition refers to areas that sits on the Caribbean plate, areas that sits or countries that sits on the Caribbean plate that shares similar systemic,
Sorry, is
tectonic.
it seismic?
You can pronounce it both ways. It's like saying tomato and tomato, or project, or a friend of mine pronounced project, or status and status. All right, based on the British and the English. All right,
Yes, sir.
good.
Similar what, sir? There are more.
And the volcanic features. So this is the geological definition. And so the next thing, ladies, that we're going to look at is geography versus geology. Now, geography is anything that is basically above the Earth's surface. Geology is anything that is below the Earth's surface. Now, according to geologists, the Earth's crust is comprised of large plates. According to geologists, the Earth's crust is comprised of large plates. The Earth's crust is comprised of large plates. At the areas where the plates meet, at the areas where the plates meet, at the areas where the plates meet.
1 second, sir. What did you say before that? Geologists believe that the Earth is compiled of large plates?
Yes.
Okay.
At the areas where the plates meet, a chain of volcanic islands appear. An area where the plates meet, a chain of volcanic islands appears. And so if we look on the map, you're going to realize that there's quite a lot of plates in the world. So the Caribbean plate is right here. Please know where it is located. The neighboring plates are the North American plate, the Cocos plate, and the South American plate. These are the neighboring plates for the Caribbean, multiple choice question. Neighboring plate, North American plate, the South American plate, the Cocos Plate. These are the surrounding plates for the Caribbean. Now, if we should examine the definition, and it say the definition, basically one of the features of or elements of the definition is any country that sits on the Caribbean plate. Now, this is the Caribbean plate. If you look at the cursor, these are the areas or the boundaries of the Caribbean plate. Now, what are some of the countries that would be excluded? Or let us use included. Included based on that definition.
Jamaica, Hispaniola.
So Jamaica would be part of the Caribbean based on the geological definition because it sits on the Caribbean plate. Next.
Yeah. Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico will be on it, and I guess they're including a part of they're including a part of South America right here.
Yes. So some of this
Honduras.
No, not part of South America. South American
South of
territory.
Central America.
Central America, yes.
Panama would be there.
Honduras, Costa
Rica. Panama is right here.
Yes, sir. Isn't that includes or no? That's not on the Caribbean plate.
Some maps show that Panama is part of the Caribbean. It's on another plate.
Oh, okay. But sir, then this one is saying that Honduras is included in the Caribbean.
Yes, Honduras would be included. All right.
Most of the Lesser Antilles.
In fact, all of the Lesser Antilles.
Except for Trinidad. But Tobago would be in there.
But Tobago would be included. Very good observation, ladies. Thank you very much. Now, so if we look at this here, the advantage or maybe one of the features is that it includes countries like Jamaica, Hispaniola, territories like Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, all of the Lesser Antilles with the exception of Trinidad. But based on this definition of the Caribbean, Cuba is not part of the Caribbean because Cuba sits on the North American plate.
Cuba or the Bahamas or the Turks and Caicos.
Yes, those territories would not be part. But even if we want to get rid of the Bahamas and Turks, all right, let us agree we get rid of them. You think this definition is correct? Because Cuba is one of the most popular Caribbean countries and they are excluded based on the geological definition. Not only that, but countries in, for example, Trinidad is excluded. How Trinidad could not be part of it. So I have an issue with the geological definition, right? I could work with the geographical definition, but not so much the geological because it is so limited. And then also it includes territories that are not considered to be part of the Caribbean. And also it exclude, the geological definition also exclude countries like mainland countries, for example, like
Belize,
Guyana,
Suriname, and also French Guyana. All right. So that is one of the issues that we're having with the geological definition. But ladies, another thing that we need to point out with the geological definition is that it argues that all the islands in the Caribbean has similar
weather patterns.
Remember, geological deals with underneath, right? Beneath the Earth's surface. So it argues that we have it. The geological definition argues that we have a single rock type in the Caribbean. That is one of what they are arguing. So they are saying that some territories in the Caribbean are, so all the countries in the Caribbean are volcanic territories. That's not true. Because even the Cayman Islands that sits on the Caribbean plate, the Cayman Islands, which is right here, the Cayman Islands, they are a coral island, very flat. They are not a volcanic island. The Bahamas, not a volcanic island, is a coral island. And the Bahamas and Turks, they are not volcanic islands. So to some extent, Jamaica, yes, it's a mixture between coral and volcanic. Hispaniola, same. Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands. Virgin Islands, very mountainous. Another feature of this definition, in addition to the islands being volcanic, is that it argues that the islands are not only the islands are mountainous. Not all Caribbean countries are mountainous. For example, most of the Eastern Caribbean countries have quite a lot of mountains, very, very high mountains. Same thing for Jamaica. If you look through your window right now, you're looking at some mountains. We might not understand the beauty of the mountains because we are so used to it. But I remember a friend of mine from Cayman visited Jamaica, and he was like, wow, Jamaica, the mountains, so beautiful, because they don't have mountains there, they don't have rivers. So the geological definition argues that all the Caribbean territories have similar rock type and that the islands are volcanic, and that's not true. Not all the islands are volcanic. We do not, as Caribbean territories, not all the territories have the same rock type. Now, I want to point out that while we have that issue, another issue with the Caribbean, with this definition, is that it gives the idea that the Caribbean has a lot of volcanoes. Now, in the Caribbean, we do have volcanoes, but we do not have active, well, not all the islands have active volcanoes. For example, in Grenada, there's an active underwater volcano. Please put it down, an active underwater volcano in Grenada that is called Kick, like when you kick someone, Kick, M-E-M, two separate words, Kick M, Jenny, Jenny, Kick M, Jenny. So it's an underwater volcano in Grenada, very, very active volcano today. Also in St. Vincent, you have a volcano in St. Vincent. I believe, I'm not sure when was the last time it actually erupted, but they also have a volcano in St. Vincent. We know for sure that Montserrat do have an active volcano there. The last time that volcano erupted was 1995. St. Lucia and all of these territories, they also have, maybe, I think they have, their volcanoes are not active. But if you visit these territories, for example, St. Vincent, you can actually go into the crater of the volcano. And if you go into the crater, you actually, well, once you go close to the volcano, you'll actually see stuff coming out of the crater of the volcano. So the truth is that we do have we have a few volcanic islands in the Caribbean. All right. So we would have covered two things, two definitions of the Caribbean. We would have looked at the geological definition and the geographical definition. Geological definition and the geographical definition of the Caribbean. Now, ladies, when we meet on for our next class, we're going to look at the historical and the political definitions of the Caribbean, and then we're going to close off that with the diasporic definition. All right, so that's the end of our class. Any question, ladies?
No, sir.
All right, so we meet again for our next class. Have a great day.
You too, sir. Same to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.